Welcome to Sunset TV. Today, as a member of the opposition, I have the privilege to interact and ask questions to a leading member of the Indian Cabinet, Dr. Jitendra Singh, whose MOS for Earth, Sciences, Technology, DOPT, Personnel, and PMO. A doctor by profession, a professor who resigned to join public life and has put in a lot of effort, first as a doctor, now as a public person. So we're going to ask a few questions to our doctor, who also happens to be a Kashmiri, somebody from Jammu, and I happen to be a Kashmiri Pandit also. So it's beautiful synergy between two people who come from the same region.
धन्यवाद
और मैं आपसे परमिशन लेके जो पहला जो अपना इंटरेक्शन का जो क्वेश्चन है, मैं स्टार्ट करना चाहूँगा कश्मीर से, क्योंकि कश्मीर से जो हमारी बॉन्डिंग है और आपकी बॉन्डिंग है वो एक प्रकार से कॉमन बॉन्डिंग है. वी लव कश्मीर. और हमको आज भी याद है जब हम छोटे थे और पिताजी के साथ हम लोग कश्मीर जाते थे तो बनिहाल टनल क्रॉस करने के बाद बाय कार एक जन्नत में पहुंच जाते थे और हमको हाउस बोट्स में हम लोग रहा करते थे. आई एम टॉकिंग ऑफ 60s, 1960s. तो मैं पहला प्रश्न, उसके दो पार्ट्स हैं, सबसेट्स हैं. मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूँगा कि कश्मीर के लोगों की बहुत ख्वाहिश है, दिली ख्वाहिश है, सरकार की भी है, लोगों की भी है कि कश्मीर को जल्दी से जल्दी स्टेटहुड मिले. आप वहाँ के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव भी हैं, आप कश्मीर की पैरवी भी करते होंगे, आई एम श्योर. और प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने कुछ दिन पूर्व अनाउंस भी किया कि राइट टाइम पे वी विल टेक द राइट डिसीजन. What I would like to know, how soon is the right time going to come? And the second question is, you can answer both together then. Kashmiri Pandits ka jo struggle hai, has been very long. Now it's 35 years. Justice Kaul ne in his judgment also, while upholding Article 370, asked for a reconciliation commission. मैंने भी एक प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल इंट्रोड्यूस किया है फॉर जस्टिस टू कश्मीरीज. तो मैं तो ये चाहूँगा कि ये जो जस्टिस का जो अपेक्षा है और जो वेट है, ये कश्मीरी पंडित्स की जो वेट है जस्टिस के लिए कब तक रुकेगी, कब तक रुके रहना पड़ेगा? क्योंकि एट द एंड ऑफ द डे so many died, so many were killed brutally also, families were destroyed, but hardly anybody was found guilty. There was hardly any investigation. और उसके बाद भी आज भी कश्मीरी पंडित वापस जाके सेटल होने में घबराता है. और मेरे विश से पूरे, मैं तो कश्मीरी ग्लोबल डायस्पोरा से भी कनेक्टेड हूँ, तो पूरे और सबको क्रेविंग है कि हम किस तरह अपने होमलैंड में वापस पहुँचे. तो ये दोनों सब टॉपिक्स आप आर क्लोज टू योर हार्ट. वी वुड लाइक टू नो योर व्यूज़ ऑन इट.
नहीं, सबसे पहले तो एक जी आपका धन्यवाद, आपने मुझे इस कार्यक्रम का हिस्सा बना करके अपने साथ ये खूबसूरत वार्तालाप का अवसर भी दिया और दर्शकों के साथ रूबरू होने का भी अवसर है. टू टेक योर सेकंड क्वेश्चन फर्स्ट, जैसे आपने कहा, और आपको भी लगाव है जम्मू कश्मीर की धरती से, वहाँ के अवाम से, वहाँ के लोगों से, वहाँ के भिन्न भिन्न वर्गों से, कश्मीरी पंडित समुदाय विशेषकर, क्योंकि आपकी जड़ें उससे जुड़ी हैं. और एक अच्छा संयोग ये है कि वर्तमान में जो सरकार है और प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी स्वयं, उनकी प्राथमिकताओं में भी जम्मू कश्मीर है, कश्मीरी पंडित समाज है. जैसा उन्होंने कहा था अभी हाल ही में जब उनका वादी का दौरा हुआ घाटी का, कि दिल और दिल की दूरियां दूर करनी है, और अब उन्होंने कहा कि अब दिल के साथ साथ फासले की भी दूरियां दूर हो गई. रेलगाड़ी भी चलने वाली है कश्मीर घाटी, जिसका कभी किसी ने गुमान ना किया था, कल्पना ना की थी. एक्सप्रेस कॉरिडोर बन चुके हैं, इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट है. तो कहने का तात्पर्य ये कि जो आपकी भावना है, जो आपके विचार हैं, संयोग से मोदी जी के नेतृत्व की सरकार की भी उसी प्रकार की प्राथमिकता है और जम्मू कश्मीर बड़ी उच्च प्राथमिकता में शामिल है. जहाँ तक कश्मीरी पंडित समाज का संबंध है, मुझे लगता है कि जिस प्रकार की संकट से उन्हें गुजरना पड़ा, वो आने वाले समय में शायद इतिहास इस पर विश्लेषण भी करेगा कि अपने में एक बड़ा अनोखा सी उनके लिए एक विपरीत काल गुजरा है, क्योंकि अगर आप देखें द रिसेंट हिस्ट्री, द बिगेस्ट एक्सचेंज ऑफ पॉपुलेशंस एवर इन द वर्ल्ड वाज व्हेन द पार्टीशन ऑफ इंडियन सबकॉन्टिनेंट हैपेंड। इतने सारे लोग यहाँ से वहाँ गए, वहाँ से यहाँ आए, कत्ल गारत हुई। बट आफ्टर दैट exchange, not even exchange, I would say the exodus of population within the country without partition, this is something unique. जब मुल्क बढ़ते हैं, जब सरहदें नहीं बनती हैं, जब हमलावर आते हैं या कोई मुल्क कैप्चर हो जाता है, तो उस तरह का होता है। लेकिन एक ही मुल्क में रहते हुए, एक ही देश में रहते हुए, बिना किसी तकसीम के, बिना किसी बंटवारे के पूरे समुदाय के लिए कैसी परिस्थिति बन गई दैट दे हैड टू लीव देयर होम एंड अर्थ इन द मिडल ऑफ नाइट, एंड ओवरनाइट दे बिकेम होमलेस विद इन देयर ओन कंट्री और विद इन देयर ओन मदरलैंड। तो ये बात शायद अभी उतनी संवेदनशीलता से कुछ एक लोग नहीं समझते जितनी तरह समझना चाहिए थी, क्योंकि मैनी पॉलिटिकल मोटिव्स आर आल्सो अटैच्ड। बट उस समय भी सन 1990 के लगभग जब ये विस्थापन का क्रम शुरू हुआ, तो सबसे पहले भारतीय जनता पार्टी ही थी जो खुल करके इन संकट में से गुजर रहे समुदाय के पक्ष में आई। आपको स्मरण होगा उस समय प्रोफेसर मुरली मनोहर जोशी जी थे, LK अडवाणी जी थे। हमारी सरकारें बहुत कम प्रदेशों में थी, लेकिन जहाँ जहाँ थी, महाराष्ट्र में कोलिशन थी, वहाँ पर इनके लिए आरक्षण की व्यवस्था की गई। कुछ एक उत्तर प्रदेश, मध्य प्रदेश में भी की गई।
हम लोग ने की थी।
जी हाँ, मध्य प्रदेश, वही मैं कह रहा हूँ। तो जहाँ जहाँ भी
कश्मीरी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर था।
एग्जैक्टली, जहाँ जहाँ भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी का थोड़ा बहुत प्रभाव था, उन्होंने अपनी यथासंभव प्रयास किया और फिर इनके लिए कैंप्स भी लगाए। और उसके उपरांत 25-30 बरस का एक ऐसा अंतराल आया, सरकारें आई, सरकारें बदली, बहुत ज़्यादा गंभीरता से इस विषय को बहुत ज़्यादा संज्ञान में नहीं लिया गया। शायद उनकी वोट बैंक की पॉलिटिक्स भी कुछ इस तरह से थी। लेकिन जब भारतीय जनता पार्टी पुनः केंद्र में आई है सन 2014 के बाद, प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने अभी तक भी जम्मू कश्मीर के कुछ ही वर्षों में प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद कम से कम 30-35 बार जम्मू कश्मीर का दौरा किया है। इसी प्रकार पूर्वोत्तर का लगभग वो 100 बार दौरा कर चुके हैं। बीच में कोविड आ गया था, तो कोविड के बावजूद भी उनके 50-60 दौरे हो चुके थे। यानी उन्होंने ये संकल्प किया हुआ था कि जो क्षेत्र पिछली सरकारों की प्राथमिकता छूट गए हैं, उनको बराबर की सतह पे लाके उन्हें विकसित करना है। और जहाँ तक प्रश्न है कश्मीरी पंडित समुदाय का, मुझे विश्वास है इस बात पर कोई आपत्ति नहीं करेगा जब मैं ये कहूँ कि कश्मीर इज़ इनकम्प्लीट विदाउट कश्मीरी पंडित। कश्मीर की वो जो रिवायती तहजीब, वो संस्कृति, द ट्रेडिशनल कल्चर विच इज़ ऑल्सो समटाइम्स डिस्क्राइब्ड एज द कॉम्पोजिट कल्चर, इट वॉज कॉल्ड कॉम्पोजिट बिकॉज it had that
Kashmiriyat.
Kashmir, and that was, and Kashmiri Pandit was an essential component of that.
Yes.
और उनके रस्मों रिवाज, उनका खान पान, उनका संगीत, बल्कि हंसी खुशी दुख में उनका the way they express themselves was also very composite. और मैं तो कई बार जब ये एक्सोडस हुआ तो मैं अपने कई दूसरे समुदाय के दोस्तों से भी कहा करता था घाटी में कि एक दिन आएगा कि आपको लगेगा कि आपका बहुत नुकसान हो गया
उनके जाने से,
पंडित के जाने से, बिकॉज यू हैव डिप्राइव्ड योर नेक्स्ट जनरेशन ऑफ दैट होलसम इन्फ्लुएंस व्हिच वाज हैपनिंग विद द प्रेजेंस ऑफ
पंडित वाज अ टीचर.
Pandit was teacher, Pandit was educationist. In fact, they have a rich legacy of education. Even before partition, many of the Rajas, the princes had Kashmiri Pandits as their education advisors.
Prime ministers.
Prime ministers.
My forefathers.
Yes, Prime ministers. And in education, virtually every state. Gwalior had their education advisor, Mr. Razdan. Baroda had, like that. So, ये जब तक कश्मीरी पंडित वापस नहीं लौटता, कश्मीर अपने वापस उस तस्वीर में नहीं आएगा.
इनकम्प्लीट,
वो नामुकम्मल, इनकम्प्लीट. अब दूसरा प्रश्न ये है कि उनको वापस ले जाने के लिए, हाँ, सरकार ने हर प्रकार की व्यवस्था भी की है. वहाँ उनके रहने के लिए, उनकी नौकरी सुरक्षित कुछ एक जोन्स भी बनाए हैं, उनका रखने का अलग से कुछ उनके लिए अकोमोडेशंस भी व्यवस्था की है. लेकिन साथ ही साथ मुझे लग रहा है कि धीरे धीरे ये भी लाजिम रहेगा कि जो वहाँ का समुदाय है, दैट शुड बी मोर वेलकमिंग. और धीरे धीरे मुझे लगता है कि वो अब हृदय परिवर्तन होगा। जब वो भी कहेंगे कि हमें कश्मीरी पंडित के बिना हम अधूरे हैं, तो देन आई थिंक इट विल बी एन ऑप्टिमम सिचुएशन। और मुझे विश्वास है कि ऐसा होगा, क्योंकि 3 पीढ़ियां गुजर जाने के बाद वहाँ के जो कट्टरपंथी थे उन्होंने देखा कि हमारे 3 पीढ़ियों के कि जिस प्रकार से बच्चे 3 पीढ़ियों के ज़ाया चले गए, दी तथाकथित आज़ादी, सो कॉल्ड फ्रीडम विच वॉज मोर ऑफ अ मिथ एंड द मिथ हैज़ नाउ एक्सप्लोडेड, उसके द ऑल्टर ऑफ दैट दे सेक्रीफाइस्ड 3 जनरेशंस ऑफ देयर
चिल्ड्रन, लॉसेस।
So now even the Kashmiri living there, be he the Muslim, also has begun to realize, particularly the youth, because the youth of Kashmir is highly aspirational, regardless of his community roots, and he doesn't want to miss the bus, particularly after 2014, the manner in which enormous avenues have been let open by Prime Minister Modi and his government. So मुझे लग रहा है कि धीरे धीरे वो परिस्थिति बन रही है। सरकार की ओर से तो व्यवस्था करने का पहले से ही प्रयास था, लेकिन सामाजिक स्तर पर भी वो बदलाव हो रहा है। आई ओनली विश यू एंड आई आर देयर अराउंड टू विटनेस दैट हैप्पी कश्मीर, लिविंग इन हार्मनी एज इट वाज ऑलरेडी। और दूसरा जो आपका है कि स्टेट का, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने 2-3 बार कहा था जनसभाओं में अपनी कि हम स्टेटहुड बहाल कर देंगे उपयुक्त समय में। गृह मंत्री जी यही बात सदन में भी कह चुके, और अभी हाल ही में जब सोनामर्ग में प्रधानमंत्री जी की जनसभा थी तो उन्होंने भी ये कहा कि सही वक्त पर अपना वो वादा पूरा करने का संकल्प रखते हैं। और मुझे लगता है प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो कह दिया उसके बाद मेरे लिए कुछ कहने की ना आवश्यकता है ना उचित है। लेट्स ऑल ट्रस्ट व्हाट द ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैज सेड एंड वी हैव एवरी रीजन टू डू दैट।
मेरी आपसे एक ही गुजारिश है, रिक्वेस्ट है, हम लोग सब के तरफ से उनको रिक्वेस्ट करिएगा कि हम लोग सब उस स्टेटहुड के लिए रुके हैं।
जी जी, प्रधानमंत्री जी सबकी भावनाएं समझते हैं।
अगला क्वेश्चन, let me take you from Kashmir to knowledge. And building knowledge and research-based economy, I think it's very important. बहुत ही ज़रूरी है. Research is pivotal to any economy, you would know. India spends only 0.7% of its GDP on research, whereas US it is close to 4%, China is 3.4%, Korea is 5%, एंड ग्लोबल एवरेज इज अबाउट 2%. मतलब हमारे रिसर्च पे जो परसेंटेज ऑफ फंडिंग इज़ वेरी वेरी एब्सोल्युटली लो. इंटेलेक्चुअल पेटेंट्स के जब आप फिगर्स देखते हैं, चाइना में देयर वर 1.64 मिलियन एप्लीकेशंस, यूएस में 5,18,364, जापान में 4,14,413, कोरिया में 2,87,954, Germany 1,33,000 odd, and India is 64,000. Why I am saying this is that we will have to involve our private sector, our SMEs, our universities, and all our government and other research organizations in this new innovation. Unless we do it, India की जो potential will not unleash. अगर हम दूसरों की रिसर्च पे ही डिपेंडेंट रहेंगे, वी विल बी ओनली बाइंग प्रोडक्ट्स, वी शुड बी सेलिंग प्रोडक्ट, बिकॉज हमारे ही लोग बाहर जाके रिसर्च कर रहे हैं एंड डूइंग वेल. मैं ऑलवेज हंसता हूँ कि इंडियंस गोइंग अब्रॉड एक्सेल व्हेन दे एक्सेल मोर देन व्हाट दे एक्सेल इन इंडिया इन फैक्ट. सो मेरा ये कहना है कि दिस इंजन ऑफ ग्रोथ विच इंडिया नीड्स, वी नीड पावर हाउसेज ऑफ इनोवेशन, knowledge cities, knowledge areas like Silicon, Boston, Singapore, and this is what the youth is looking for, the aspirational youth. I'm sure you would have some take on it.
No, I'm glad, Vivekji, you raised that issue. I think to a great extent you have also answered what you asked. So, by and large, what you have made your point as an observation, in fact, also consists of the answer. अब इसमें क्या है कि हम जब कंपेयर करते हैं, यू आर राइट, हमारी जीडीपी, हमारा बजट इज़ मच लेस कंपेयर टू मेनी अदर कंट्रीज, But when we try to compare ourselves with the other nations or the so-called developed nations, what we miss out, and which has started now being realized, that too after 2014, that here there was a mindset to develop wholly on government resources. And yet the common man thought we should be competing with, for example, space sector. तो बोले साहब नासा, सो सुबह गायबाना गपशप लगाने का माहौल रहता है, सैर करते, बोले साहब इन्होंने रॉकेट भेज दिया तो क्या किया, नासा ने तो इंसान उतार दिया. बट दे वुड नॉट रियलाइज नासा नेवर डिपेंड्स ऑन द गवर्नमेंट रिसोर्स, most of it is from non-government. That realization has happened now. So I agree also with you कि वही acumen, वही प्रतिभा, why do they outshine when they go outside India, not here? Which in fact is a very scientific evidence of the fact that there was no lack of acumen, there has never been a lack of potential, never been a lack of commitment, never been a lack of hard work or even aspirational urge or aptitude. If you go to the archives, you will see the pictures of Vikram Sarabhai carrying some of his saman on the carriage of a bicycle, which means he had everything but was devoid of resources because he had to depend on the government resources. And I am glad to, because why I am mentioning the space sector, that this is a success story in itself, at least in the Indian context. For 60-70 years we worked in that silos, confined ourselves to whatever resource the government could provide, and of course no government anywhere in the world can give you all the resource to live up to the global benchmarks, as you rightly mentioned in your own way. And even the scientists, the experts working in the space sector had to reconcile that, look, this is how it is going to be. But mercifully, after Prime Minister Modi came, it was put across to him and he allowed us to open up to the private players. And in just about 4 or 5 years, there has been a quantum jump. We had just one digit startup in space. Today we have nearly 300. We had a very minuscule space economy. Gradually started growing. Even today we are just about 8.8 billion US dollar. But our strides have become, so fast that we hope to go 5 times higher in the next 8-10 years to about 44 billion US dollars. So I can foresee the economy space is going to be a very important component of the future India growth story as we move on from position 5 to 4 to 3 and then to the top. So this, I agree with you, opening up to the private sector. And why private sector?
Universities.
Yes, it has now started, and I am glad that Prime Minister Modi himself is very forthcoming. Otherwise, it would not have happened in the space sector. Now, in the last 4 years, we have such a huge investment, not only from the private players, also from other collaborators, also FDIs. Same is also being seen in the other spheres. Similarly, another important component, because you very rightly linked the innovation research with the future economy, which is going to be relevant for the entire globe. For the entire world, the next leap of growth would be innovation based, startup based. And it's also a considered view across the world that the next industrial revolution would be bioeconomy driven, just as the last one in 1990s was IT driven. Now India has a huge bioresource, better than many other countries. We have a huge range of Himalayas, we have a 7,500 long coastal line full of marine resources, which are biodiversity, mineral mine. लेकिन उस तरफ किसी ने देखा नहीं था. These are either unexplored, under. For the first time, here we have a Prime Minister who spoke from Red Fort twice in his Independence Day address about deep sea mission. I don't know how many people would have actually understood, but at least he was trying to create awareness about the wealth lying inside the sea. So when these resources come in, and we are today among the first countries in the world who have, in fact very recently, about 4 or 5 months back, rolled out a bioeconomy related policy called BioE3. Biotechnology for economy, biotechnology for environment, biotechnology for employment, considering the future implications. और पहली बार आपने जो सारा कुछ कहा उसी के साथ जोड़ता हुआ नेशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन, बहुत कम देशों में, अमेरिका में है नेशनल रिसर्च सोसाइटी NRS, जर्मनी में है. वी हैव कम आउट विद अ बेटर वर्जन, लर्निंग फ्रॉम देयर एक्सपीरियंस. अगेन देयर रिसोर्स pool will be filled almost 70% by non-government entities. तो हम उस दिशा में चलना शुरू हुए। लेकिन आपका कहना ठीक है कि हम देर से चले, हमें ये रियलाइजेशन देर से आया। शायद जैसे मैंने कहा कि देयर वाज नो डेर्थ ऑफ इक्विपमेंट, बट द इनेबलिंग सपोर्ट or enabling milieu, which is to be provided by the political dispensation, which is to be provided by the policy makers, that was somewhere lacking.
Because we started globalization in 90s.
Absolutely. And then
we opened up much later.
Yes, opened up, but then again we slowed down. After having opened up during that brief period of Mr. Narasimha Rao, then we slowed down. And then we also got entangled in political instabilities, etc., etc. There was lack of clarity on the part of the political dispensation, which has happened only after 2014. And the world also is now looking up to India as a more reliable partner because the stability given by Prime Minister Modi, and also by the that now that we have started following global strategies. Because if we have to reach where we are, and we are surging to reach, we have to follow global benchmarks, we have to live up to global parameters, और वो तभी होगा जब हम उनकी स्ट्रेटजीज़ पर चलेंगे। अगर हम कहेंगे कि 100 रुपया जो सरकार के ख़जाने से मिला है वो लेकर के हम नासा का भी मुकाबला कर लें, हम दूसरे तो संभव नहीं हो पाएगा, क्योंकि वहाँ वो कल्चर ही अलग है। तो इट्स नाउ दी एंड एडिंग टू व्हाट यू सेड, द ईरा ऑफ silos is over. If at all we have to move on from where we are today, we have to move together. प्राइवेट सेक्टर की आपने बहुत अच्छी बात की। इस देश में कई सालों तक एक स्केप्टिज्म रहा, प्राइवेट सेक्टर और पब्लिक सेक्टर के बीच में बहुत बड़ी खला रही। प्राइवेट सेक्टर जब देखता था गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर को कि सरकारी अधिकारी सोचता था ये तो सारे रिश्वतखोर बैठे हैं, जब तक कुछ दोगे नहीं काम नहीं हो, छोड़ो इनको। जो सरकारी सेक्टर देखता था प्राइवेट तो कहता है ये तो सारे ब्लैक मार्केटियर बैठे हैं। तो मैंने एक दिन वही उदाहरण दिया, व्हेन आई हैव बीन अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग एडवोकेट ऑफ दिस इंटीग्रेशन, व्हिच ऑफ कोर्स लकीली नाउ हैज़ हैपेंड। तो आई यूज्ड टू गिव देम एन एग्जांपल। मैं कहता था जब एक बस में हम सवार होते हैं तो हम टिकट लेके बस में बैठते हैं। अब तो खैर हम व्हेन यू एंड आई वर स्टूडेंट्स, दैट वाज द कॉमन मोड ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट। तो हमें नहीं मालूम होता कि हमारे बगल में कौन बैठेगा। चोर भी बैठ सकता है, ठग भी बैठ सकता है, कोई मवाली भी, साइंटिस्ट भी, ठग भी, कोई भी। अब क्या हुआ कि रास्ते में बस कहीं रुक गई, टायर पंचर हो गया, तो सभी उतर जाते हैं नीचे और पूरा जोर लगाते हैं बस को आगे धक्का लगाने के, बिकॉज एवरीवन इज कीन टू रीच द डेस्टिनेशन विच इज कॉमन। ठग भी लगेगा, चोर भी लगेगा, साधु भी, साइंसदान भी, क्योंकि उनको लगता है अरे पहले अपने पड़ाव पर पहुंच जाए बाद में सीख। सो इट इज़ लाइक दैट, इफ़ वी हैव टू रीच दैट गोल, we have to move on together, we have to learn to live together, we have to learn to cooperate with together, and also adopt each other's good practices. ऐसा नहीं है, कई बार प्राइवेट प्रैक्टिस की बहुत अच्छी प्रैक्टिसेस हैं जो सरकारी सेक्टर में नहीं होती, and many of those who come through a lateral entry to the government bring in a flavor of private, whereas कई बार पब्लिक सेक्टर में कुछ एक ऐसी डायमेंशंस डेवलप्ड होती हैं which can add. So it's not only financial pooling, in fact knowledge pooling भी हो रही है, as you rightly mentioned. From my experience of the space sector having opened in the 4-5 years, I found that the youngsters who come there as startups also add inputs which are sometimes,
power of idea.
Yes, which are sometimes quite amusing and enlightening to the elders there.
नहीं, आपकी बात ठीक है, और इनफैक्ट मेरे को तो इस कंट्री में बहुत होप है, और हमारे जो लोग हैं इंडिया की, जो यूथ इज द पावर ऑफ इंडिया।
एब्सोल्युटली। और अभी ये स्पेस इसका बढ़ गया। लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल बायो इकॉनमी की बात कर रहा था मैं, बिफोर 2014 और इवन इन 2014 हमारी बायो इकॉनमी थी कुल मिला के $10 बिलियन, विच इज़ इवन एम्बैरेसिंग टू से। इन 10 years वी हैव गॉन अप टू 130-40 बिलियन। फ्यूचर प्रोजेक्शन इज अबाउट 300 बिलियन बाई 2030 और सो। तो कहने का तात्पर्य ये कि अब वो गति भी बढ़ गई है। एक तो हमारी दिशा भी ठीक हुई और उस दिशा में गति से हम आगे बढ़ने भी लगे।
अब मैं आपको एक नए सब्जेक्ट में लेना चाहूँगा। यू आर मिनिस्टर फॉर DOPT। आप खुद एक क्वालिफाइड डॉक्टर हैं, प्रोफेसर थे। सर्विस के बारे में आपको बहुत अंदाज है, हाउ सर्विसेज वर्क, एंड यू हैव टू ट्रांसफॉर्म गवर्नेंस एंड ब्यूरोक्रेसी इन दिस कंट्री। सर्विस मैटर्स में मैं एक प्रकार से काफ़ी वेल नोन था in the 80s and 90s, but I specialized in that subject also in Central India. So मैंने ये देखा कि ब्यूरोक्रेसी की प्रॉब्लम दूसरी है। ब्यूरोक्रेसी लिव्स बाय द रूल्स, ये कॉलोनियल स्ट्रक्चर है, एंड ब्यूरोक्रेट का फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट होता है टू फाइंड हाउ टू स्टॉप अ थिंग, हाउ टू अप्रूव अ थिंग कम्स लेटर। तो ये जो एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होना है माइंडसेट में, हाउ विल दैट हैपन? बिकॉज देखिए, this country cannot become a world power unless this structure also improves.
No, I'm glad
और
you.
and इसमें there is a conflict between specialists and generalists. You know that. आपने जो lateral entry की बात की, IAS would never like new people to come, but IAS also has old ideas. तो मैंने बल्कि एक बिल लाया हूँ, प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली पार्लियामेंट वर्क नहीं कर रहा था, तो वो बिल एडमिट नहीं हो पाया, कि हाउ टू परमिट people in service, in public service, to become entrepreneurs and to give them leave for innovation. So what I'm trying to say is that आपको new initiatives, new thought processes, और आपको ये जो आपकी machine है, which is going to build India, you will have to make it very vibrant, thinking and progressive and also helpful. How would you do it?
No, agreed. I can't but agree with you. Absolutely, what you said is very appropriate. अब हुआ क्या है कि, and you rightly connected it to the legacy of the civil services of the British Empire. हमने कहीं ये मान लिया कि जो हमारी IAS है, this is a legacy of Indian civil service. This itself is a misnomer. And when I go to the academy there also I say, in fact this definition changed on the night of freedom itself. जो कलेक्टर था ब्रिटिश राज का, उसे हम कहने लगे डिस्ट्रिक्ट डेवलपमेंट कमिश्नर. उसका नाम कलेक्टर इसलिए था कि ही हैड टू कलेक्ट रेवेन्यू फॉर द एम्पायर.
ठीक बात है.
बट आवर डेप्यूटी कमिश्नर हैज़ टू कलेक्ट रेवेन्यू फॉर द वेलफेयर स्टेट. तो उसका रोल बदल गया, लेकिन वो फ्यूडलिस्ट जो हमारे ऊपर एक हैंगओवर था वो चलता रहा 20-30 साल. अब उसमें भी रियलाइजेशन हुई है. द करिकुलम इज़ बीन चेंज्ड, द वे ऑफ वर्किंग इज़ बीन चेंज्ड, द टेक्नोलॉजी इज़ कम इन, एंड यू राइटली मेंशन धीरे 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 the governance is going to shift over to the citizen, is going to be more of citizen centric, citizen oriented. We have very recently, in fact last year, come out with a very novel experiment which is proved to be very successful, called Mission Karma Yogi, which precisely addresses the issue that you referred, shift over from rule to role. Instead of becoming prisoner of the rule book, how would a bureaucrat or civil servant live up to the role that he has been assigned? So that's a module, because with the help of technology we have many options these days. So the module enables you to train yourself, capacity building for the new role, for the new assignment, for the new promotion. अब होता क्या था कि चूँकि ट्रेडिशनल ब्यूरोक्रेट को सिखाया जाता था कि you have to run the writ of the state, rightly so, कि सरकार का इकबाल रखना है. तो अगर आज मैं IAS हूँ और मुझे हेल्थ का सेक्रेटरी बना दिया जाए, तो समथिंग इनसाइड मी टेंड्स टू prompt me that I should start pretending as if I can write a better prescription than a doctor. Next day you transfer me to agriculture secretary and I try to behave as agriculturalist who knows more than the land farmer. अब वो नहीं रहेगा. इससे अब इसमें हमने वो capacity building का continuous module बनाया है which is dynamic. एक तो वो, I mean, these are some of the reforms which have come in the last 10 years, and Prime Minister Modi has been personally indulging in it. He has huge temper for this governance reforms. उसके अलावा, as far as the transparency is concerned, things have been converted online. Almost 80% of the working in the central government is online. Then you are right, बहुत से rules ऐसे थे which were proving impediment to proper functioning, and they were the legacy of the British Empire. This should have been done away with, because they had a feudalistic background. Like, for example, this government was sworn in on the 26th of May 2014. In the first 3 months, one of the earliest rule that was done away with, कि वो जो आपको गेस्टेड अफसर से दस्तखत कराने पड़ते थे. And that one decision sent out a huge message across the country. Look here, now this is a government which has the capacity to trust the youth of this country. If we can't trust the youth of this country, how are we going to do business? Because we have more than 70% population below the age of 40. As you said, youth power. अगर आप अपने बच्चे को कहेंगे तुम वो अपना इम्तहान की मार्कशीट लेके आता है, तो कहेंगे नहीं, तू जा पहले गेस्टेड अफसर से दस्तखत करा के ला, तब मैं विश्वास करूँगा तेरी मार्कशीट है. तो कैसे घर परिवार कुंबा कैसे चलेगा? और आपको जान करके खुशी होगी कि इस सरकार ने अभी तक लगभग 2000 कानून ऐसे ख़त्म किए, जिसमें इंटरव्यू का था. छोटे पदों पे हुआ क्या करता था कि किसी बच्चे को 100 अंक मिले, उसको आप नहीं रखना चाहते रिटर्न में, तो आपने उसको इंटरव्यू में फेल कर दिया और वो सिलसिला भी ख़त्म हुआ। और जहाँ तक ऑफिसर्स का ताल्लुक है, बिकॉज both sides, we have to take care of both the citizen as well as the officer. Officer also, or the bureaucrat also has to be provided with a work and friendly environment. हमारे यहाँ एक प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन एक्ट हुआ करता था 1988 का, पहली बार 30 साल के बाद अमेंड किया गया 2018 में। एंड वन ऑफ द अदर न्यू इंग्रेडिएंट्स एडेड टू इट इंक्लूडेड दैट द ब्राइब गिवर विल ऑल्सो बी इक्वली कल्पेबल, वरना ऐसा भी था। मैनी ऑफ द ऑफिसर्स बिकेम स्टेटस कोइस्ट टू प्ले इट सेफ, कि अगर इस आदमी को बेनिफिट मिल गया तो 4 जो नाराज़ हो जाएंगे वो मेरे खिलाफ एंटी विजिलेंस चले जाएंगे। तो वो उस तरह, तो काफ़ी उस तरह के रिफॉर्म आए हैं। हमारा ग्रीवेंस सेल और ग्रीवेंस डिपार्टमेंट वाज ऑलमोस्ट रिडंडेंट। फिर उसके बाद वेबसाइट का ज़माना है, मैनी ऑफ द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स क्रिएटेड वेबसाइट, नेवर विजिटेड इट, नाउ मेड इट ऑनलाइन। दैट CP Gram has become a role model for other countries. Yesterday only there were some civil servants of Kenya who wanted to study it. Bhutan is trying to, replicate it. Bangladesh. So you have an automatic disposal of the Swamitva program, which is a very beautiful program where the land farming and the demarcation is done with space technology and drones. So the owner of the land or the farm can actually generate his own papers. So that's again a role model program rolled out by India. अर्लियर ऑन क्या होता था कि रेवेन्यू ऑफिसर के रहमो करम पे थे आप, पटवारी आपका कागज़ किस तरफ घुमाता है उसी के ऊपर आप, सो नाउ यू आर द मास्टर ऑफ योर ओन डेस्टिनी। तो धीरे धीरे इट विल शिफ्ट ओवर टू द सिटीजन एंड टेक्नोलॉजी इज गोइंग टू प्ले अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल इन दैट. So that's digital life certificate is another beautiful example.
Caste certificates.
Elders had to make themselves available before a doctor to give the certificate.
I have a 93-year-old mother and a 92-year-old mother-in-law.
So that was quite.
I know.
Yeah, that was quite impolite and uncivilized, to ask the elders to do that. Now they have a biometric. Now they also have face recognition. Just look into the, and I'm glad. The grandchildren are helping their grandparents.
You're right.
वो कहते हैं दादा मैं आपको करके देती हूँ, दादी मैं बताती हूँ कैसे करना.
This is happening in my house also.
So they show you the camera, they show the grandpa the camera in the mobile and the certificate gets generated. So optimum use of technology, thrust on transparency, thrust on grievance redressal, thrust on citizen centricity, and minimizing the interface of the bureaucrat, which has also enabled reduction in the timelines of the disposal of matters and the files. So I think that has been one of the hallmarks of this government, and it's a continuous process. Of course, I agree, because we move on from one technology to the other. So accordingly, we have to move on.
Now you have a point, and as I said, we all have our own experiences of bureaucracy, policing, and India has faced it, and India will overcome it. But something which is close to your heart now, I'm going to ask, is about advance in the space tech economy and technology. India's space ambitions are nothing short of a big inspiring, and when we expect and see we want to see our first astronaut into a space in an Indian spacecraft and from Indian soil. You think that will happen, and when will it happen? One. What are the upcoming milestones for our space mission to the moon and beyond? And also, there is a bubble that the space sector is opening up to private players and foreign investors. Fine. But there is also a bubble, and I would like to know that will Indian startups and indigenous initiatives play a role in strengthening India's position in the global space economy? Because we don't want our space sector to benefit the foreigners. Indians should be as much participants in the space development.
No, I agree with you. Now, taking up those very important points one by one. Of course, as far as when would the first Indian human be there in the Indian spaceship, I think maybe within a year's time, if not by the end of this year, maybe by the beginning of next year, we'll have a very ambitious mission called Gaganyaan, which will carry first Indian human being into the space in an Indian spacecraft.
From India?
From India, of course. We had one Indian called Rakesh Sharma in the early 90s, but that was a Soviet, you're right, that was a Soviet mission. So first indigenous mission with an Indian astronaut. We are already in the process of conducting test flights, because there are separate modules. There is a crew module, there is a lab module, then there is a safety module, because sending the astronaut up is very fascinating, but to get him back safe in the water is equally important. And that is a very collective exercise in which the naval guards come into play, naval personnel come into play, the space side. So, we are actually in the process of conducting those test flights, so that we are able to satisfy ourselves to the maximum extent. Then before we actually send one up, we will send a robo mission, who has been named Vayomitra. She is going to be a female robo. It's like a dress rehearsal just before the final one. So, she will go up, perform all those tasks which are expected by the actual human mission, and when she comes back and we are satisfied that everything has happened as we wanted, then the human will also go. That will be Gaganyaan. Then first human landing on the surface of moon, first Indian landing, that is, as of now, the time schedule is around 2040. It may be plus minus, because before that we have other things lined up. In 26, if we have Gaganyaan, 27 we will have Chandrayaan 4, because we already had Chandrayaan 3, which will go there, collect some samples from Chandrayaan. In 2028 we will have a Venus mission, the Shukra. Some people fancifully call it Shukrayaan. Then by 2030 we will have our own space station. So, that is going to be a very great milestone, which has been appropriately named as Bharatiya Antariksh Station. So, India will have its own space station in place, and for that the mission that successfully was accomplished today, the SpaceX mission, docking and unlocking, is very relevant to that. So, we have a huge line of ambitious missions lined up. As far as the startups are concerned, we are getting huge investment from the private sector, from the other collaborators, and to a large extent they are investing within India. I agree with you. We have to also try to make sure that it does not happen, the drainage of all that resource. But luckily so far it is not so, because now they are finding avenues within India. Earlier it did happen. Like for example, our first generation space startups, who were the first to have launched private rockets using the government owned or state owned facility at Sriharikota, are now entrepreneurs. One of that group has started a factory just close to the Hyderabad airport, the first ever, I think, factory in the private sector of manufacturing rockets. So, overnight they have made a fortune. So, they now find reasons enough, attractive enough to invest back in India instead of going abroad. Also, because earlier we did not have avenues. I agree with you that we have this space teaching institute, one of the best in India, in Trivandrum, which is now known as Trivandrum, which the selection is through IIT JEE exam. The placement is 100%, but almost 70% of them went to America, worked in NASA. In fact, NASA also had a lot of Indian boys and girls. But now it is no longer so. The trend has started changing, because they have started finding avenues closer home,
but you
back
have to
home.
Pay them well.
Yes, of course. We have to pay them well, and we also have to allow them to indulge in the freedom to indulge privately.
Innovate.
And not to be regulated wholly solely, which is of course now happening there. They are then open to, after they become startups, they rise to a different level, new level. When they become more sustainable, then they become entrepreneurs, and they are investing, and then moving on from one level of investment to the, because they have lots of avenues in India, because you see India is becoming a huge market. Also because, as I was mentioning about bioeconomy a few moments ago, bioeconomy essentially will change the economy paradigm, in the sense that economy would move from manufacturing sector to recycling. So, going to be a huge shift.
Huge shift.
So, in that extent, India has a huge resource. One of our startups in Bangalore has already started producing animal free milk, and now they are also exporting it. So, we have huge resource pool, as I said, of bio resources. We have huge market. So, everything is there in India. It is just that we were not giving them the enabling sort of environment for that. But now they are finding. In fact, many of them want to come back also. I have a number of, even in my personal touch, number of startups, number of well-established scientists, innovators abroad, who actually want to come back. And to facilitate that, in the Department of Science and Technology, we have also started a scheme called Vaibhav. We give them some incentive If they want to take a government job, we also tend to give them relaxation in the age limit. But what happens is, once those who have gone there for the last 20, 30 years want to come back, but if they are not able to come back, it's not for the professional reasons, for the family reasons. Like, for example, I had an IITian in the 1980s. He's very keen to come back. He was here. We arranged some tasks for him. He was very comfortable doing. He wanted to carry on. Then he said, let me go back and get my family. So from there, so he personally touched me. He got back to me and he said, okay, my family says the choice is yours. Either you stay with us or you go back to India. And then he confessed to me. He said, I can now see what is the missing link. My children have never been to India. Even for the vacation, they went to other countries. So once the children, come of age and they are not, so then if they are not able to return, otherwise, by and large, all those who have settled in US or other countries now find reasons enough to get back to India. They are held back for other extra professional reasons. So, but otherwise, I think it's becoming much and much attractive destination, both for startups, for the business community, and even for industry.
My last question to you, another question after that, which will be something relaxing. Threat to climate change and environmental degradation is huge. We are all worried for our next generation. Everybody is worried. India is worried. The world is worried. I mean, today in California fire in the peak of winter, and our glaciers in Ladakh melting, we know the consequences of all this. Our forest cover depleting, and the water levels going down. Now, all that is a huge issue, and which we know our children, our generations to come will suffer if we are not careful today. You are a person who is very close to these issues. It's your subject also, and you have worked very hard on it. I would like you to assure the nation that we are on the right track to save and protect the country.
Yes, very rightly said. Of course, we are on the right track, and I think the huge change that has happened is the perception about India as far as these issues are concerned. Till a few years ago, India was never seen as a nation who could deal with these subjects very prudently, very seriously, or very intelligently. We were not taken seriously as far as issues like climate concern or global warming is concerned. They thought it's beyond our comprehension, something like that. For the first time in the last few years, in fact only in the last 1 decade, India has now started laying timelines, goals, 2070, net zero, like that. In the COP meetings, when we are represented, Prime Minister is there, he sets some deadlines. So now India has started being taken seriously by other countries. That's because our capabilities have improved, both in disaster preparedness and also in looking at the strategies to deal with the climate concerns. And we are now equally partnering with the other countries, in spite of the fact that sometimes our constraints are heavier than theirs, because being a heterogeneous country, it's heterogeneous even in its climate. I mean, simultaneously these days you have heavy snowfall up there in north, and if you go down to Tamil Nadu, Andhra, you have hot, humid weather. So it's a very difficult country even from that point of view. But I think today, not only are we on the right track, we are also, and we have told the world by 2030, our carbon reduction will be so much, and by 2070 it will be zero. So we have now the confidence to say that, and the rest of the world is confident to believe in our confidence. So I think that perception has happened, because now evidently we are moving in that right track, and some of our recent success stories have helped us. Like, for example, when we talk of environment concerns, I think Prime Minister gave this life for environment, it's been taken up by the whole world. Similarly, when we talk of the sustainability concerns, it also involves health. We are the ones who gave the world the first vaccine in COVID. Now that also has helped us change our perception, because India was never taken seriously as a country which which gave healthcare much of a priority. Even you see in your neighborhood, if someone falls sick, they hardly consult a doctor for 2-3 days. So country which was not taken seriously for curative healthcare is today being acknowledged as a leader in the preventive healthcare. So this whole change of perception has happened because we have demonstrated, showcased enough to the rest of the world our skills and capabilities, which possibly we didn't have the opportunity or chance to do that. And also because the world has shrunken, information technology has brought everybody nearer, so they can see actually what we are doing, which possibly we were not able to showcase earlier.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful listening to you. Of course, I would have small disagreements because you gave a lot more credit to last 10 years when I thought progress is always a continuing affair.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
it was before and it will be later also.
Yes,
but
without denying what has happened earlier, what I was saying is that we have opened up to the global parameters in a much bigger way.
But that's India.
India.
That's the story of India. But before, as we end, I would like to know, you have worked very hard in life.
Absolutely.
You were a doctor, now you're a minister. As a minister also, you work very hard. Tell me, how do you relax? Are you fond of ghazals? Are you fond of songs? Are you fond of music?
I am fond of ghazals. Each moment there is some Nazm poem walking in my head. That, of course, been inherent to me. I have read literature in a number of languages, Hindi, English, Urdu, to an extent Tamil, and reading books is another big passion. I always carry about 2 books with me when I travel. I'm traveling every third day. I carry 2 because I pick up any book that I come across which is latest in the market. So I carry 2 because once I go through 10 pages, I find it's not worth reading. I don't wish to waste time. So I go over to the next one. And poetry, of course, is something which keeps me relaxed, though I may, even when I'm in a crowd, because the poetry goes on in your heart. So that is one thing. And of course, the last 40 minutes I've been relaxing, doing nothing but chit-chatting with you. I think what could be a better relaxation than to be in the company of such a warm and intelligent friend like you.
Thank you. And thank you. It was a wonderful conversation. A lot of new things have emerged in this conversation. I'm sure the country and the listeners will benefit. And
thank you.
A lot of things that you said today, I'm sure will make big news in the country.
And the credit, I must say, goes to you for having elicited all this conversation in this beautiful manner.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. Thank you very much.
My privilege.